Hey guys, this is Rurouni K95 here. Once again, it's time for a holiday special review video for this holiday season. Now, I'm always wanted to come for the fact as well, taking a look back, where I've already looked back on my previous holiday special review on How the Grinch Stole Christmas. If you haven't seen it, check it out at your leisure at this point as well, if you like as well. Because this time, I wanted to come by to cover a holiday special for this holiday season because Christmas is around the corner as well, because we're getting closer to Christmas particularly, of how I wanted to come across for that as well. And for some reason is that of what has got to me as well as this, the classic traditional ones that we watch every Christmas. Because I can start off with the ones, particularly, starting with everything from rank and base this time. Why not? Because I wanted to review this one for the very first time, just to get you a little head starters off really quick enough to do this as well. And at this point, particularly as well, for how I can understand why, as how I wanted to come across to review a holiday special for a day as well for this one. For today, I'm going to be reviewing is something that I haven't thought of doing one before, which I should have done, and you know what I'm talking about. Santa Claus is coming to town. Yes, the 1970 holiday special from Rank and Base for today's review I'm going to be doing as well. Because we got a cast on here which stars Keenan Wynn, Mickey Rooney, Paul Frees, Fred Astaire. We got a slew of cast for the voice and the cast for Santa Claus is Coming to Town as well, accordingly of how we can come for this as well. As far as I know as well, yeah, Fred Astaire does the narration for that on as well. So, without any further ado, which is right here, right now, let's dive into the review now. So, this is Santa Claus is Coming to Town. So, it starts off with the review of how the story goes, is particularly of how I wanted to come across particularly of how children everywhere has the annual visit of Santa Claus as well, especially the letters to the from the postal facilities directly to the North Pole. S.D. Kluger, who is the mail delivery guy, has a lot of the wanted to tell how the story, how the origins of Santa Claus, how it began, of how it started on a cold winter night in Sombertown. And then suddenly, the selfish, mean old grouch named Burgermeister Burger knew if Grimsby brought the milk or daily paper, if he could have thought of this, but instead it was the baby, including the note to protect him from the dangers of the mountains of the whispering winds. Has been given the love he needs, but the Burgermeister Burger was not even interested in taking the baby because he has no attempt to take care of them. So take it off to the asylum instead, but instead it flew off into the air, and all the animals see it. So it passes through the mountains of the whispering winds, which is the home of the Winter Warlock, who basically practicing these icy-like spells in the mountains, who is the Hermit of the North in the mountains as well. Particularly, so they brought over to the Kringle house, including the place of the Kringles, especially these elves that make toys. They have the good option of how they wanted to adopt a baby in that one. So they brought over to the Elf Queen, Santa Kringle, so they could, excuse me, figuring out a way of how, because the license name says Claus, but it was a usual name particularly, so instead they preferred to call it as Kris Kringle. When Kris Kringle grew up, he knew how to read, write, and count stars on the crystal nights, and then they introduced him on how to make toys, especially for the children, if they could pass through the mountains of the Whispering Winds, especially where the Winter Warlock goes. It seems particularly of how it's the good reason of how Kris Kringle makes toys as well. As days went on, Kris Kringle is now a fully grown man who is an adult now, of how he could take those toys to be delivered to Sombertown, which is the right decision as well, including the Kringle suit, red suit especially. So when he wanted to deliver the toys to the children as well, particularly of how he could figure out a way as well, and then at this point he met a penguin with a scarf named Topper, if they could figure out a way, until they were caught by the Winter Warlock as a warning, like, go back or they're doomed. So they passed through the woods just so they can make it right into Sombertown. So the honor of the guards of the Burgermeister, Meisterburger, has the introduction of how the Burgermeister is the mayor of Sombertown, but he tripped on a toy and it broke in his funny bone, and he could figure out a way of what caused him to break his funny bone after he tripped. He found out it was that toy, so he couldn't take it with children everywhere with the toys as well, and particularly of how this is the reason of how. So they wanted to propose of how they want to ban toys as illegal. If anyone who has a possession of toys can be under arrested and be taken to the dungeon. So that the guards of the Burgermeister, Meisterburger, confiscated all the children's toys in the order of the Burgermeister, Meisterburger. When Kris Kringle arrived to town with a bag of toys, he wanted to get these toys to the children, but that's made everyone upset, and then they locked the doors because it was the laws of the Burgermeister, that's why. And then he figured out what he can give the toys to the children when those other two children were doing their chores, such as washing the stockings, of how gloomy it was. But he brought the toys to the children just to cheer them up as well. And Miss Jessica, who is the school teacher, almost wanted to warn the children that the toys are against the law. Like, if the Burgermeister see it, they'll all be in big trouble for the possession of toys as well. Kris Kringle thought it was a ridiculous thing he has heard, particularly as how it goes. But then he offered her a China doll, that she wanted one when she was a girl, as particularly well. As soon as he gave the toys to the children of Sombertown. But this wasn't long until the Burgermeister notices that children are playing with the toys, that they're caught in possession of the toys. They almost could have taken the children to the dungeon in the possession of toys. But Kris Kringle told the Burgermeister, you cannot arrest the children because it was his own fault for giving those toys. And then they labeled him as a rebel. Then the Kris Kringle had given the Burgermeister a yo-yo, but one of the guards of the Burgermeister, Grimsby, told the Burgermeister that he's breaking his own law. So the Burgermeister has sent his guards to go after Kris Kringle, because he was always breaking the laws of how toys are illegal. So instead, he went off into the woods with Topper as well. So the guards of the Burgermeister will never find him in the woods. Just a head pass on the lands of the Winter Warlock. Especially when they noticed the sign, they got caught him as well. And he will never get away. So it was the whole thing for this as well. But Kris Kringle wanted to give the Winter Warlock a Christmas present, like as in a forgiveness kind of way, with no tricks though. So by this time, of course, he gave the Winter Warlock a Christmas toy gift, which is that train toy one. But then how his icy powers were lost and they were gone. And he's powerless without them. Which is basically how miracles work as well. At this point, of course, and they gazed into the magic snowball what he had. That Jessica is looking everywhere for Kris Kringle, and the Winter Warlock has prompted Kris Kringle to go to Jessica. That she had to tell Kris Kringle that the Burgermeister destroyed all the toys that Kris Kringle bought to the children, and those children needed toys as well. It's including letters from the children that they wanted toys from every places as well, like especially like going through houses, as well as going through chimneys, as well as everywhere. And that made the Burgermeister snapped, enraged, that it was outraging as well. He tried everything for the citizens to lock the doors and windows. He tried everything as well. They tried to get into like one of the residents' house in Sombertown if there's any more toys, but there were no toys because they couldn't find it. But it was all drying stockings. So they given up and went off to somewhere else. But the children were relieved, and they have the toys in the stockings, because that's why Kris Kringle has got put these toys in the presents and stockings. And the Burgermeister once again got outraged that he sees the children once again with the toys, and this has gotten to the thing of how it seems of how this happened. And he wanted to something that he haven't thought of doing in a long time, of how his next visit to Sombertown could be his last. When Jessica wanted to warn Kris Kringle about it, but it was already too late, because he has left with his bag of toys. Of how they wanted to figure out how to stop Kris Kringle, because the Burgermeister is going to catch Kris Kringle for this. The little Kringles, and as well as Santa Kringle and the Winter Warlock, were busted by the guards of the Burgermeister, that they're all under arrest for defying the law and for making toys. So they take them to the dungeon until Kris Kringle was caught by the Burgermeister under the chimney. And then he was arrested and then they took the Kris Kringle to the dungeon. And the Burgermeister has gathered up all the toys the children of Sombertown had, and a huge pile of toys. And then he burns all the toys with the fire as well, torch as well, until the toys are gone and destroyed. Jessica wanted to ask the Burgermeister to set Kris Kringle and the little Kringles free, but he refused. And then she thought that her own town turned against her, particularly, but she could have figured out a way of what her ideas can come for this. By this time, of course, she wanted to ask the Winter Warlock that if he has any more anything, including magic feed corn, that he has gave it all away, because the Winter Warlock has no icy powers now. So Jessica has feed one of the reindeers magic feed corn just to how it makes them fly, just to in time to rescue the Winter Warlock, Kris Kringle, Tanta Kringle, and the little Kringles out of the Burgermeister's dungeon. This wasn't long until the Meisterburger's guards wanted to track down the ones that escaped from the dungeon. If they have no peace until they're captured. They found out that the toy, that basically the house of the little Kringle's place was been burned down. And then time has come for this as well. He had to grow his whiskers. I mean, could not use the Kringle name, which is a dangerous thing. But he couldn't figure out a name to what suits a better name. So he chosen the name Claus instead, which is his real name. So, which is the origin of Santa Claus, particularly this. When Jessica and Kris Kringle are now getting married, especially on the eve of Christmas as well, as how this goes, until they found the castle and workshop, which is at the North Pole, and this time they're making toys once again, despite the Meisterburgers trying everything as well to put a stop to it, but it never worked as gone according to plan as well. Of how time goes, things have changed because the Meisterburgers died off and fell out of power as well. The more older Kris Kringle became, the more famous he became when he became Santa Claus in this particular one. And that's how this goes. And that's how you end this movie, with the mail delivery guy, S.D. Kluger, singing the song Santa Claus is Coming to Town at the end of this particular special. The story was suburb. It was very Christmas-like tradition, particularly. I mean, this explains about how the origins of Santa Claus, how it depicted in this particular holiday special. And I think this is the most commonly known holiday special that I watched, unlike most other holiday Christmas specials to come across as well. I know this is classic Rankin-based Christmas special as well that came out in the 70s. And I have to put this on the par with A Year Without a Santa Claus, which I think that was released 4 years later in the 70s as well. And for the characters, they're basically how it's been a whole slew of characters have been introduced. In this particular holiday special, well, this is how it goes, particularly of how I wanted to come across as well. Unlike most other Christmas specials out there, this was the perfect example of how Christmas, how it goes as well. It's more festive as well as every other holiday Christmas movie or special that I have ever watched. In this particular holiday special, accordingly, which I have come across for this, of how you wanted to expect to do this particular holiday one, that's the thing, as how I wanted to understand why, how I can give in the facts as well. For overall, if you want to binge watch on something like Santa Claus is Coming to Town, give this a watch. I highly recommend it. If you have it on the standard DVD like this one I have, okay, or the original Christmas Classic DVD set that I have right here, which includes all the other Christmas specials on here. If anyone wants to claim this for the, especially like this, different than these, your typical bargain DVDs like these as well, accordingly as well. And my score for this one, I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10 also, especially for this classic traditional Christmas special for a day as well, accordingly, from what I understand why, of how I'm given in the facts of this as well. And I consider this to be more traditional as well, accordingly as well, and then afterwards particularly. That's not how I wanted to come across for this as well. Like most Christmas specials out there in general, this kind of takes the cake as well of how I want to come by for this as well. In this particular one, as how I want to come across for this particular holiday episode special. Unlike most out there that I have covered in the past as well. In case you're wondering of how I wanted to do this, because that's the reason about that. So that's going to be it for my review on Santa Claus is Coming to Town for today's holiday special review for today, you guys. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's what I'm going to say for this one. Wow, this is the first time I wanted to review my very first traditional holiday special from Rankin Base for the very first time as well. Because why not? This is something that I have never done a review like this before, which I haven't thought of one, which I should have done until now as well. Hey, I have been reviewing a lot of my other previous Christmas specials and movies, as well as other ones in general that I reviewed in the past, but this is the first time I wanted to review Santa Claus is Coming to Town for the very first time, which I'm thinking that definitely takes the cake for this holiday season. That's the whole thing about this. Hope subscribe for content, Anime Planet Patreon, links will be in the description down below. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below on this holiday special, especially when what do you think of it? Just let me know in the comments section if your thoughts on it. Just let me know if you like as well. And also be sure to smack the like button if you enjoy this video. Click on the subscribe button. Be sure to subscribe to my channel, RuRoniK95. Feel free to join my channel, especially if you're new to my channel as a newcomer. Especially if you're watching this one as well. Because I'm starting getting into the holiday special reviews. That's why. For every holiday season. That's why. And also, be sure to smack the like button if you enjoyed the video. Hit the notifications bell button. Be sure to get notified also as well for more latest updates, just to keep you updated as well. And that's all I have what I got for today. This is RuRoniK95 saying thank you for watching my video, and I'm glad you liked it. Hope you enjoy it. Hope to see you soon for the next video. Hope you have a great day. This is RuRoniK95 signing off, and thank you for watching my video. And I will see you soon for more videos. Take care.